G'day fellas. Welcome to a casted game between Aizamk playing on the United States and his opponent, Canushal Bear, playing on the Indians. Now, you might be familiar with both of these players, Canushal Bear being quite a strong player at the moment in the top 5 with more than 1,000 games played. His win rate's about 80%, so he likes to win a lot. His opponent, Aizamk, doesn't really like to win as much, playing more unconventional strategies. You may have seen some interesting strategies out of Aizamk before, and today we bring you another interesting strategy. It's the mill rush. And you might be like, Drongo, what the hell is a mill rush? So, the United States, we're still in the stages of working out the best strategies for them. You know, when to be doing, when to be sending what cards, working out what cards are good, what cards aren't the best. And it looks like Aiz has actually found a strategy that might be viable, and it's not just a troll. So that's the mill rush. And you might be thinking, okay, how can you possibly rush with a mill? What are you talking about, Drongo? You're an absolute lunatic? German immigrants, my friend. The German immigrants for the United States are, obviously the United States are a new civilization, so people still working out everything with them. And so essentially what happens is you send forward a mill or a homestead wagon, and the homestead wagon is going to come down and place a mill over here, and then that mill is going to generate a settler wagon, and that settler wagon is going to be used to do all of your early building in the game. So you're going to put down your racks with it, you're going to be putting down any potential, stable that you want to put down in a forward position, any outpost, anything like that. So, the Germans have got the tower rush. The United States have got the mill rush. It's a very simple thing. So let's talk a little bit about this strategy, about this build order and why it works. So the United States have got 2 cards that they can send. The first one is advanced homesteading. Now this gives you 2 homestead wagons, and a homestead wagon can be used to make a mill. In combination with German immigrants, this grants you a settler wagon. So you've got 2. You've got 2 homestead wagons, and then when you age up with Delaware, there's a further 2 that you can get from the card in the home city. I think it's called Fertile Lowlands. The issue is that you've got a maximum of 5 settler wagons that you can have. So the question is, where do you get that 5th settler wagon from? If you've got 2 plus 2, that's 4. Where's the 5th one? And we found the answer. The answer is the Infinite Sheep and Homestead Wagon card. So it's 7 sheep. I think it's 7 sheep. 7 sheep and 1 homestead wagon. So we see the mill coming forward now, and the sheep in the base of Aizamk being eaten up. So you can see he's really going for that nice and early age up here, eating all of his sheep on the ground. He's got some yaks here as well. Now keep in mind, he's keeping the yaks because the yaks fatten slightly faster than the sheep do. And now he's got the age up in queue. 2 minutes 40. 12 villages going up. So a very competitive age up time. And keep in mind, when he sends in these German immigrants, he's also going to be getting a settler wagon. Now, isn't that just the most beautiful mill you've ever seen? It is just such a gorgeous mill. Age 1 mills are the most beautiful things, but the problem is they're just not that good in Age 1. Fortunately for the United States, though, you get to see them. Look, you can see all the inner workings of the mill, the cogs going around, doing it. It's just, there's so much work that's gone into it. It looks really good. So we're going to be seeing a settler wagon popping out of this mill any second now. There she is. And he's going to be just chopping or mining some gold before going over to place a forward market. So this is the new base of Aizamk. And when he reaches the second age, he's going to be sending in more mills. Now, obviously, the mills that he's going to be sending in aren't all going to be coming to the front line. He's only going to be needing one mill at the front line, because that's where his settler wagon is going to be. But obviously, starting with a trade post, his opponent also starting with a trade post. So now keep in mind, he's going up with Delaware. We did mention earlier, he wants to go Delaware because Delaware is going to enable him to get access to fertile lowlands, which is going to give him those semi-fattened cows. I think it's 6 semi-fattened cows, as well as 2 homestead wagons. So we take a look over at Canushal Bear. We see what he's up to. So Canushal Bear doesn't even know about the forward mill. Oh, Canushal Bear, a big mistake here, my friend. You haven't scouted out the forward mill. We'll take a look what Canushal Bear's doing, obviously going up with the Agra Fort. We see it here on the front line. We'll have a look at his deck, see what he's got in here. So he's just going with distributivism as well as good faith agreements. So this, to me, signals he is doing a GFAFF. That is a good faith agreements fast fortress. So good faith agreements coming in now. Aizamk has now reached the commerce age. We'll tune in with Aizamk. We'll see what he's up to. Sending in advanced homesteading as the first card. Now, you might be wondering, okay, Drongo, why is he sending Advanced Homesteading as the first card? Why not send in Fertile Lowlands? Because you can get those extra cows. So the idea behind behind Advanced Homesteading coming in first is that it's going to give you extra population caps. So you can see right now, Aizamk is at 16 of 20. When this comes in, he's going to go to 16 of 30. And then he's also going to have 2 homesteading wagons on top of that. And that's going to push it up from 30 to 40 and then to 50. So he's going to have 30 additional population space he's not going to have to worry about. He's going to have to send these 2 cards in at some point anyway. So essentially what he's getting is 4 villages, 2 mills, and on top of that, 2 houses. Technically, it's 3 houses because you're enabling this one. So we can see the line of sight coming in for this mill now. One of the things I love that Aiz does is he places his mills in positions that are a little bit weird, a little bit strange, not right next to the town center because they give extra line of sight. So we watch down here, you see that line of sight that it gives? So advanced homesteading gives 15 line of sight to mills. So now we've got that fertile lowlands card coming in. We talked a little bit about this earlier. So fertile lowlands, it gives you semi-fattened cows and also gives you 2 homesteading wagons. Now, you might say, okay, but on a map like this, Drongo, why doesn't he just turn this initial mill that he got, the homestead wagon, into a livestock pen? Because he's got so much livestock. He's got, he's got all these yaks. He's got the 7 sheep that came with it. And then he's got another 6 semi-fattened cows. And honestly, that's a great question. And that's probably something that we need to work out. We're going to probably have to get that into the build order eventually. But essentially, it's something that needs to be worked out. We now see those semi-fattened cows coming in. Aizamk putting down the additional mills in his base. We can see the line of sight that he's aiming to achieve with this. So putting these up, it's going to prevent any raids from coming in unnoticed. And State Militia now moving to the south. So keep in mind, when these complete, Settler Wagon. When this completes, another Settler Wagon is going to pop out. I know that we've got a bit of action over in the front, but I do want to demonstrate this to you. So right now, we're at 6 minutes and 10 seconds, and Aiz has the equivalent of 26 villages, so not too bad for the United States. He's also sending in behind this 8 State Militia, so instead of opting for something like 700 wood, he's going straight for the State Militia, so going to have a nice, decent mass, getting harassed on the back line, again by Canushal Bear, doing a great job. And he's now moving in with the State Militia. So a huge amount of State Militia. 15 State Militia. He's going to be sending in... Oh, he's actually changed it and gone for long rifles. I do like this change. I think he will be losing his market, but he's got all the upgrades that he needs, I think. If we take a look at the villages, we can see that the villagers are gathering with their steel traps upgrade. So quite decent. As well as having no gang saw yet. No great coat. So Harrison would be a little bit upset. But one of the things that I do expect we will see is he'll transition into cows, getting 1 villager now, picking off the first villager. Is he going to get a second villager hit? Ooh, very, very close to getting a second villager. The reset came up. No, he's going to pick up a second villager, walking into the base, taking out the second villager. Now we've got Minutemen being called, as well as the 2 Indian monks getting on top of these State Militia. Indian irregulars doing quite well against the State Militia. I think they almost one-shot it. The Gurkha now, we can see the French consulate here. So we did mention the GFA Fast Fortress is happening. We'll take a look back at Canushal Bear. We'll see how close he is to that Fortress Age, and he's nowhere near it at the moment. So just doing his best now to chase back the pressure that was applied by Aizamk in the early game, sending foreign logging, which is going to be giving him that nice wood trickle. We'll take a look at the other cards that he sent in, just the 300 export, as well as the 700 wood. And Aizamk just sort of letting Canushal Bear just reset. I say that, but look at the push that Aizamk's got going now. So this is a decent, massive State Militia. We take a look how many he's got. He's got 19 State Militia, so picking off another villager, doing a great job of it, and really utilizing the pressure here. One of the things we talk about in these high-level games is a lot of skirmisher units, just because of the players' control. So players are able to control these units quite well, and as a result, it means that they become very potent. We see 8 State Militia being sent from the home city. We'll take a look at Canushal Bear. We'll see if he's sending anything. So he's actually training SOARs. He's got to be very, very careful now, Aizamk does, because there's a very small window where these SOARs are going to be able to get on top of these State Militia. They're going to be able to run really fast. So we take a look, 7.5 movement speed. Have a look at Aiz's perspective and see what he sees. He just sees the SOARs. He gives up a couple State Militia right now, doing his best to try and get out of there as quickly as he can, and managing to make his way quite a way away. And we see the State Militia now focusing down, moving back towards the Inspiring Flag. The Inspiring Flag is going to be boosting up that attack from the State Militia, as well as the Regulars. The Regulars now moving into melee combat as well on the front line, getting out a bayonet shot, or like almost hitting out the butt of them. But keep in mind that long rifle shipment is in. They've got that 17 range, so a really nice improvement there for Aizamk. the first of the 2 Explorer units going down, and we've got the new batch of State Militia coming in from the back, which is coming from the town center. We take a look at the macro right now. Macro's looking very hot. He's also sending in Minutemen as well, so A's definitely doing a great job of really just controlling the amount of units that are out here. Huge amount of State Militia. 30 State Militia. That is a lot of State Militia at this point. That is a huge amount of State Militia. That is a concerning amount of State Militia right now. That's essentially the critical mass that you need for State Militia, because State Militia gain an extra hit point for every State Militia that stands near it, up to 30. And so now the 30 State Militia, let's see if they'll be able to take out each of the SOARs. I'm curious to see whether they get one-shots in. They one-shot the first SOAR. Are they going to one-shot the second one? Almost one-shotting the second one. Now we've got the Minutemen on the back line, taking out 2 of the SOARs. We can just see how strong these State Militia are, and it really just comes down to how weak SOARs are. Sending the 4 SOARs from the home city. Also going to be making a batch of SOARs, potentially ending relations. We'll be looking to ally with, I suspect, the Ottomans. Ottomans are going to enable him to get a little bit more leverage when it comes to his cavalry mass. And we'll take a look back at Aizamk. So now A's sending in those Irish immigrants. We do a bit of a stock take. We see 30 villagers, which is really 35 villagers, because 5 of these are settler wagons, up against 28 villagers. And keep in mind, he's got those wood trickles. So normally India would be ahead at this stage. India is a little bit, I'd say it's actually quite even, because they've got distributivism as well as foreign logging. So those 2 wood trickles, both working overtime. And now we've got the SOARs moving in, a decent mass of SOARs. So Aizamk needs to be very careful here. Aizamk doing his best. We take a look at the mass. We see that there are 5 regulars in here. He's also making more regulars and training Hussars on the back line. So impressive stuff from Aizamk. He did lose that market in the early game, but despite that, has he rebuilt a new market? Doesn't look like it just yet. Fight still continuing now. SOARs potentially looking to push up. They are indeed pushing up. First SOAR almost getting taken out. And the huge stomp! Oh my god, that Indian monk stomping every single army member of the Aizamk army. Wow, that stomp. Now the SOAR, or regulars, moving forward to attack the SOARs. We've got the Sepoy on the back that are sieging the barracks, but I don't think it's a wise choice. Aizamk looking incredible on the score right now. Up to 38 villagers, 5 of which are settler wagons. So technically on 43 after sending those Irish immigrants. Getting a nice timing in. 4 Hussars coming in from the north as well to reinforce. Going to meet those SOARs up towards the north of the map. We spot and have a look. Are there any regulars in here? There's a couple more regulars that are in here. We've got Minutemen as well in amongst the mix. 5 State Militia coming out as well, and it looks like Ace is going to be able to clean this up relatively easily. He's got a couple more State Militia in here that are on top of the Inspiring Flag. Going to be providing that attack boost for the State Militia, and Ace is looking in an absolutely tremendous spot. It's a curious position. So what does Knusel Bear do from here? Knusel Bear sending in camel attack, but I just feel like it's really not going to be strong enough. He's down on 31 villagers at the moment. Keep in mind, with every Indian shipment, he's going to be receiving an additional villager. He's also got the wood trickles behind that, so really looking at about 38 villagers, but up against Aizamk, who's sitting on 40 plus 5, so 45 villagers, quite ahead. And we'll take a look at the card that Aizamk is sending in right now. Delaware Blues. It sends a regular for every shipment that you've sent so far this game. So that is an 8 regular shipment. 8 regulars is equivalent to a Fortress Age shipment, and he's getting it in the 2nd age. Technically, that could be like 1 million regulars if you wanted to. If you sent like 1 million infinite shipments, it could be insane. But Aza looking like he might have misclicked here onto a treasure down towards the south, slowly working down the smugglers. I'd be curious to see whether Knusel Bear is down here and looking to just pick these up with a stray villager or something like that. It doesn't look like it though. And so big reinforcing batch for Knusel Bear, for Aizamk rather, and Aizamk pulling ahead in score. And this is one of the things that we were talking about. You know, I did a tier list very recently, and the United States is a civilization we're still working out. We're still trying to find out all the best build orders for. And look at this. Turns out the Mill Rush is actually quite decent. Going up against the Indian player, doing pretty decent. A huge mass of Hussars now moving out across the map, trying to chase down these units. It doesn't look like there's too many Sepoys in the mix, so Hussars are going to be doing their best, trying to chase down the SOARs as well as the Gurkha. Beginning to siege down the Agra fort now. A couple of regulars in amongst the mix and getting in on top. We see the sentries being called from the town center, and it looks like Ace is in a great spot right now. State Militia moving forward, being able to pick out each of those sentries. Regulars moving forward as well. And the mass is overwhelming for Ace. Honestly, at this point, it looks like it might be over, just simply because of how big this mass is. The Agra fort is here, it's firing, but you got to think of this. Don't think of this as a fort. This is an outpost. It's a glorified outpost. It's really not that big. It's really not that great. Hussars now moving in on top of the Gurkha mass. Gurkha mass looking like it's beginning to dwindle. We've still got the state militia that are just pushing up and just really doing a lot of damage to the Gurkhas. The Hussars are able to snare, so they're able to keep in distance, and we've got the regulars firing off on the Soa. I think this is a cleanup, and it... Ooh. Nushabar in the chat saying, oh, dash dot dash. So he's not the happiest camper, and that is the end of the game. So right now, Aze has just demonstrated why the mill rush, the forward mill, is damn bloody strong. 4 mills out on the back line, the 5th mill up in the middle of the map. We'll take a look at the post game and see exactly what the villager population was. I'd love to see this. And we see Aizamk just pulling ahead. So there's the first. So here we've got, or down here rather, we've got the first mill. There's the second mill and the third mill, and then the 4th and the 5th mill. And then we've got Irish immigrants, which come in at 10:01. A's timing it perfectly to hit that big batch of Irish immigrants, so getting in 6 settlers with that batch, and really just pulling ahead, doing his best to demonstrate why the Age 2 economy for the United States is still being discovered at this time. We take a look at resources gathered, and we just see how close A's manages to get. This is against a good faith agreement Indian player, so this is a lot of early resources that are coming out, and despite that, he's still able to keep up and eventually overtake him right towards the end. So, very well played by Aizamk. If you've enjoyed this video, I encourage you to leave a like down below. And thank you guys so much for watching.